Welcome to Founder Mode. Dude, activate Founder Mode. The country needs you. My God. No, DJ, we can't. I'm in the middle of a podcast. For the love of God. Investors, man, God bless them, but they can all kiss my ass. God damn, I can't wait to be my own investor. Here's the problem, though. Let's say I make a huge exit. I don't want to put all my I mean, even if I put all my money into the next thing, I want it to be as big as possible, so you need more capital than yourself. You always need more capital than your own. It's kind of very frustrating, but it is fact of life, you know? America needs you, the world needs you to enter into founder mode. Lead yourself, lead your family, lead your business. Let's go. Stop founding dumb companies that are VC fodder. Stop founding companies just because you know a VC will like the idea. If you're doing that, I get it, but you're also a loser. You know what I mean? You're just working for someone else. I'm not saying don't take VC money. I'm saying, do you have any soul of your own? Do you have any creative vision? Are you able to think for yourself? You can't convince you if you have access to VC and you start a dumb company, you need to be roughed up a little bit. And I'm not saying physically, maybe spiritually. You need some nightmares. You need a couple ghosts of capital past, future, and present to come and haunt your ass, because it is the most magical thing that you've been able to acquire, and you're wasting it on what? Another AI rapper? And I'm not just saying AI rapper because it's not automatically a dumb idea. How about a good one? How about a decent AI rapper? As soon as an AI startup brand website tool is helpful, I pay for it instantly. I have several memberships, 20 to $100 a month. They're incredible. Opus Clips, love them. Throw a YouTube link in there, it automatically cuts up edits, adds captions, all sorts of stuff, and then I can quickly load it out. I'm not using it for myself. I use it for my businesses and clients. I don't have the bandwidth to grow this as quick. I have no need to grow this as fast as possible. This is more just free. This podcast is just free therapy for me. Let's be real. Because it's insane out there, man. Can we talk about the apocalypse? I mean, are we in the middle of the apocalypse? Hey, Abrahamic religions. You're the same. Basically, we're the same people. We are brothers and sisters. We are cousins. Stop fighting. It's insane. It's insane. It's insane. As a Christian, I'm like, dude, what am I going to do about your insanity? I just want to build the kingdom of heaven on earth. You know what I mean? I just want to build lovely places for lovely people to be lovely in. That's it. That's it. I know that's so crazy. Oh my God, he's so crazy. Too ambitious. Oh my God. Sorry, not sorry. Like, I understand there's evil. I understand you have to fight evil. I understand war is, perhaps unavoidable sometimes, or at least violence is. Okay, I get it. But do we all need to participate in it? Can some of us build the future as opposed to, adjudicating the past? Can some of us move forward? We all have to focus on the past. Can some of us look into the future? Like, there's other problems we're facing here. There are so many problems. Dude, I saw, of their own volition, okay, I saw young white people, okay, the young whites in San Francisco. Can Mossad take a look at these folks, because they're out of their mind. They had a club. they blew up giant balloons. They're releasing them into the sky to dissolve a certain particle or gas in upper atmosphere to literally create clouds, to create cloud cover, to cool the earth. They want to forcibly cool the earth. That is insane. Okay? Not only, like, motivation aside, we do not want a cooler earth. If we had to choose global warming or global cooling, we want global warming. Global cooling is apocalyptic. It's famine. It's insanity. Global warming still has tons of problems, but at least you can grow agricultural products. Maybe you gotta move them around, but at least you can grow them. Like, you do not, like, what do you want? The nuclear winter or a Precambrian, tropic zone, right? Where it's just like the equator belt, the what is it called? The jungle, the Caribbean, the rainforest of the earth expands north and south, right? We obviously want to live in a warm, humid jungle versus a cold, desolate hellscape. Do you want to live in Antarctica or the equator? These people are insane. They're just like, let's launch more balloons. We don't need to wait around for anything. They are climatists. It's a cult. It's insane. And I'm like, dude, listen to me. Listen to me. BP invented the personal carbon footprint. Okay? The conversation should not be on the individual, 7 billion plus individuals, and how to curtail their habits. It should be on what's legal and illegal for 1 million or so businesses globally to rein in all sorts of pollution. I don't think CO2 is a pollutant, nor do I think it's the driver of climate change. I believe the climate's catastrophically changing. I don't think it's driven by carbon dioxide. I don't. But I am acting as if the climate is changing. And more importantly, I don't think it'll stop. Fundamentally, whatever's causing it, I think any cause you can come up with is not going to stop. That's the fundamental truth. That's my position on climate. Is it CO2? If it was CO2, we'd have a model and it would predict future situations. Get a sphere, model it in a computer. You know how much CO2 is being produced. You know how much CO2 is being captured. You know the sunlight coming in from the sun. Model it out. How hard is this? This is not a hard physics problem, okay? If you simplify it. The fact that the models are wrong or have never been right proves that there's some data point missing. And even though the IPCC says 100% of man-made climate change or climate change is due to solar irradiance, according to their last, I think it was 2015, that's wrong. It's not 100%. That fact is 100% wrong. It's certainly not 100%. There's at least two other factors. One is atmospheric density, weight of the atmosphere, which could change with CO2. I'm not denying that. But more importantly, I think the big X factor is solar magnetic activity, because this affects cloud cover, it affects the charged particles, it affects the size of the solar heliosphere, and the extent to which the sun can repel or prevent high energy particles from hitting us. And when the magnetic field is lower, more particles come in, they hit the atmosphere, they create cloud cover. That can create global cooling. Nobody knows what that'll cause, but more clouds typically. Maybe there's some other effects. Maybe it activates more algae growth. You know what I mean? I don't know. But there's at least two other factors. How they're weighed, I don't know. But it's not 0%. And so the IPCC model is wrong. Therefore, no one can predict anything accurately. It's been 50 years. We have supercomputers. Elon Musk just made the world's largest supercomputer out of scratch. You know what I mean? Excuse me. Um, so whatever the cause is, though, you're not stopping it. You're not stopping Russia, China, and um, India from commercializing. You're not stopping CO2. And you better pray for global warming because global cooling would be catastrophic. I think if you look at the population, it coincides with warm, that we grow during warm periods, the Renaissance, and we dwindle during cold periods, the medieval ages, because of famine. Now we have to bring in a bunch of crops into controlled environment agricultural facilities. That's what got me into this industry. Dude, I mean, I remember the thing that got me here, through the hellscape that was the last, 15 years or whatever, 19 years, 20 years, over 20 years. I was a total loser in college, academically, struggling through everything, didn't know how to study, chaotic home life, no attention at school, studied zero, did zero, you know what I mean? Just like literally skated by for most of my life just doing well in tests because I would listen to the teacher, I'd sit there and listen to them talk, they're talking, I wouldn't be rude enough to like ignore them and fuck off, but I would, maybe I would doodle, but I would listen. Take the test. I got C's and B's, sometimes B's, mostly C's. Let's just say C's. I was a C average student. And then I was like, I gotta take this seriously. I got myself up to a B average at the end of high school, and I took an AP Environmental Science course, which was a big deal for me. It was the first AP class. That and AP Psychology. Those were my first AP classes senior year of high school, and my only ones. And I thought, like, wow, my studying is making it. These were the two blow-off classes for the AP students, right? So they're taking naps, and I'm like studying. I'm like taking notes. In AP Environmental Science, I remember hearing the words that changed my life, which is that the North Atlantic gyre will shift one day due to melting ice caps, and off the coast of Greenland. And when it does, the jet stream that we call the Gulf Stream in the ocean, the ocean current we call the Gulf Stream, will move. And when this moves, it'll shift global climate patterns. And I was like, I remember to this day, that thing, that sentence, that picture in my head changed my brain. And I remember walking out of school, it was my last class of the day. It was like dizzy, just like my tunnel vision. I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. And people thought back then it was in 100 years. And I went home and I was like, well, if this is true, which it seems totally true, I can either work on a solution or spend the rest of my life extremely depressed. And I just like made a decision that day. I'm like, I'm going to work on this problem. I'm going to be part of the solution, or else I'm going to be depressed. And by then, luckily, I got into UIC. I got a good grade in my ACT because I could remember what was read, and lucky enough to get into college. Yeah. When are you going to be off? 15 minutes. And, yeah, sorry, honey. I'll go get changed if you want a rough house. And at that day, I was like, I'm going to devote my life to clean tech, scaling clean tech, make the biggest positive impact possible. And I got into UIC. By then, I studied physics, got my physics degree. That's what brought me here. No, Casper, not right now, honey. Go get mama, okay? Mommy's home. Did you see mommy? Go get her and tickle her. Oh. And that's why I'm so dogged. I'm like, this is serious business, man. We need to harden our supply chain against, it used to just be climate change, but now it's like World War III and economic, there's a lot of supply chain issues coming down the pike. And we need to be able to produce key products on shore. Back in the day, I just thought it was food. That's what I was just working on the technology, trying to figure out how to do this. Nobody would invest meaningfully, even though I've arguably helped the industry. I've arguably been the most if you were to measure impact, influential or impactful person on the vertical farming industry that nobody knows about, nobody cares. I was never able to like, they're like, oh, he's too arrogant. I'm like, dude, just listen to me. I'm basically the reason it scaled nationally. I worked with the city of Chicago and I got them a set of rules and regs that they could license us by. There was no way to license a vertical farm back in 2010, 2015. And uh, it was my framework after figuring out what the USDA would want, FDA would want, and Illinois Department of Ag would want. I put together all the common listings and I gave it to them. And I'm like, this is how you make sure an indoor farm is safe. Whatever kind of indoor farm it is. Indoor, vertical farm. And it spread. The OECD came. I don't know if the OECD helped spread, but it helped create legitimacy in this movement. I spoke at that conference. And the city of Chicago started classifying urban farms and vertical farms as wholesale food establishment businesses. And that was the first time a major city with strict zoning licensed these things properly, and every city copied that, basically. And that was because of my rules and regs that I gave to the city of Chicago. I had no idea. They're like, dude, tell us, what do we do? We have no, you guys are insane. Crying baby, Oh, Lord have mercy. It's like he's weaning, and so anything sets him off. He just wants the nipple so bad. And we're like, no, it's over, dude. Tap's shut, bar's closed. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, And so these babies, they cry like you're killing them. And they're just like, it's like, dude, I didn't give you the right cup. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's so funny. As a non-parent, you think you're torturing your kid. As a parent, you're like, he'll be fine. I don't even know if the mic can pick it up, but probably can. And, despite the lack of funding, I will not stop because I'm like, this needs to happen. Someone needs to be able to, and if you can see, I'm tapping on the table. Someone needs to be able to scale up indoor farming as fast as humanly possible nationwide. Soon, we're going to need a lot of indoor farms really fast. And the current technologies for indoor farming do not scale fast enough. They are too expensive because they're too complicated. They're not scaling right now nationwide, even though there's a giant $1 trillion pool of commercial real estate capital that would love a new asset class that's high margin, higher, provides higher returns than, it's just new land, new space in the market. Because no one can provide the rate of return that an empty commercial real estate project can provide in terms of rent. You know what I mean? And this is because they're not profitable enough. And part of it is because they're growing salads, right? We're growing supplements. It's like 10 times, 100 times the price point per pound. Instead of $5 a pound, we're selling at $500, which is like incredible. And then there's gonna be even more for drugs, or maybe not. Maybe the cost will increase as well. But so you have this it's bloated to install an indoor farm. It costs too much to run it. You don't make enough product. You don't make enough profit at the end of this all. And I just saw this, and I'm just like, I know how to do this. I know exactly what'll work. And lo and behold, it did. Lo and behold, I was right. Everyone was wrong, and they're gonna rule the day. I don't even care about the vertical farm. It's gonna be my nonprofit marketing division of cellular farms. We're growing drugs, man. I don't care about lettuce. I'll license that out. Great. Now this is what happens. By the way, I just got another email. I had to go founder mode, fire my co-founder, God bless his soul, and scale, get the company actually ready to be able to scale, because we couldn't before, because we couldn't move fast enough on anything. And everything was like a debate. Well, what, should we do that? I don't think, and I was right every single time on every major issue. And then I never got credit for it afterwards. Like, once people step into a new paradigm, that you oh, well, this is where we're going. It's like they don't even remember who got them there. and which I don't actually care, but it's just a little, it's like the little salt on the wound. Um, and I had to go founder mode and kick my co-founder out and take control of everything, uh, and cut all our expenses because the business we wanted to be in and we thought we were going to be in turned out to be a business we can't be in for many reasons that we can't change. And I'm like, listen, man, this other direction, which I saw this potentially happening, and I worked up a backup plan, set up a backup supply chain, set up a new product, like got us ready in case the direction we're going in was not viable. We at least have an alternative. Turned out the alternative is far better, far better. And the previous business was a nightmare. It was going to be really hard. And I don't want to, I'm glad to not have to do it the way we would have to. It's very hard not even hard, not just hard, exceptionally difficult to start without capital, which is where we're at, versus the new method, the new business model. I can bootstrap this thing to $1 billion if I wanted to. It'll take longer, but I could 100% do it. I'm going to raise money because we need to move fast because, again, the climate is shifting, collapsing. To what end, I don't know. But basically, to finish that loop, I believe, I don't know what's going to happen, but I believe the precipitation patterns globally are going to move like overnight because this current is going to move. That's going to shift everything with it, and whatever that settles into, I don't know how fast it'll be, but basically you'll end up with farmland in the wrong place overnight. Maybe a day, maybe 10 years. I don't know how fast that is, but even 10 years is going to be tremendously challenging to move our farms around, right? And it's happening right now. We're getting the wildfires everywhere because of droughts. A couple of years ago, we lost a ton of potato harvest because of flooding. It's happening. It's happening where it's not. It's going to be different everywhere. Whatever, I think most likely you can expect whatever your weather is now, it'll be different. That seems very likely. And so anyway, I got to cut all our expenses to keep the company floating, and that was like tantamount to treason to him. And I'm like, sorry, man. I know you have like all your relationships in the South that you're doing business with, but these relationships are costing us so much goddamn money. Your bookkeeping relationship is $700 a month. Are you out of your mind? And they won't even like tell us if we're running out of money until 3 months, and then they won't like help us with any fundraising. Like there's no like additional $700 a month. That's insane. I didn't know that. Insane. It didn't register, I should say. I got it down to 150, 155. AI assisted, instant reporting, e-commerce focus, right? That's the new specialty. No. Get that whining out of here, young man. Yeah, unbelievable. And so now, I'm getting this email. Oh, I'm concerned that, yeah, I'm concerned too, man. Running and gunning, trying to survive, trying to keep the business alive. I had to cut our lab out. I had to upgrade and switch over our accounting package. Saved over $500 a month. That's $6,000 a year. Okay. And what was the other one? Moved our money to Brex. I'm getting 5% in our savings account now versus it's the local relationship bank. I was getting nothing, and no digital cards with management spend. No online anything. I mean, like, absolutely insane. Just costing us money. So that is my founder's mode. Have I told you all how much I love my wife? My wife! And because I got to make this company work. I don't have a backup plan. I'll deal with failure. I deal with heartbreak in the future. I'll deal with it when it happens. But I'm all in here, raising my 3 kids. No VC will talk to me. It's so insane. I'm like in the middle of like too many things. I'm too generalist. I don't have a PhD. I don't have an MBA. I don't have a MD. Nobody believes that I can grow drugs. They don't believe the sulforaphane is real without like a lab coat MD telling them. It's insane. It's insane. And so I'm like, all right, man, what am I supposed to do? This has to get done. For the sake of the country and the planet, this has to get done. There is no alternative route. There's one way, it turns out, to grow crops indoors at scale profitably or effectively. There's one route. When I figured out that route, other people try to steal it, other people try to copy, and I'm just like, dude, why don't you help instead of hurting constantly? Speaking of hurting, dude, there's this company up in Virginia, which I have a blood feud now with. Hope they go bankrupt. Sorry, Y Combinator. These guys, I got an intro through another person in our network. He reaches out. They're trying to sell us farming capacity for microgreens. And I'm like, because we were looking at that for supplements. And I'm like, you guys grow in soil, there's no way. We need like so much more microgreens than you can produce. And sorry, but I'm like, hey, you know who might want it? The company that bought my business back in the day called Wilder Fields in Chicago. They're having a hard time scaling with their approach to indoor farming, even though they bought my platform. And I said, go in this direction. Go here. I got you licensed by the city of Chicago. I built the prototype. I got you into Whole Foods. Here's the system and the directions. And I'm like, they got $40 million. They wouldn't hire me. Okay, I'm done. I'm tired. I got a kid. I got to go make money now. And instead, they went in a different direction. And guess what? It didn't work. And they, floundered for so long, still haven't built out their farm. They had a 100,000 square foot facility. They still haven't filled it up because they went the wrong direction. I'm like, oh my God, I literally gave you the direction. I gave you the package. You ruined everything. And you wouldn't take my advice because you thought, because you're buying my company, you're smarter than me. And you're not in this realm, in vertical farming, in new product marketing, and in negative infinity to one startup launching. I am an expert. Okay, this is my world. I don't know what to tell you. So they're floundering. They got a new CEO. I messaged the new CEO because the old CEO could kiss my ass, and I'm like, hey man, are you looking for help? Do you want a new system design? Because I was thinking about pitching them to design my system or design a farm. Well, I decided not to for intellectual property reasons. And I said, you know who could help you? Because you're just growing lettuce. These guys have a really economic indoor farm. Basically they have pallets or trays with soil in it, and they grow the salad. And the soil helps regulate. It solves all these problems that everyone else is having. And I'm like, great, brilliant, love it. Soil is dumb, but if it works, it works. And to me. And so I'm like, you guys should connect because these guys have money and need an architecture. You guys have architecture and it's proven. Boom. And I'm like, it's free. Here you go. And the way this guy wrote down the information before I had a chance to, ask for anything in return, I was like, oh, this is not good. He's a little too hungry, right? And so I connect them, and I'm like, afterwards, I'm like, hey, do you think you could refer me to Y Combinator? I'm applying for this other business. He's like, oh, yeah. Just send me a blurb. And I send him a blurb, and he's like, yeah, they don't really take referrals. Just update them after you apply. They love that. And I'm like, oh, shucks. Okay, have a good one, man. I don't know. Years later, I find out Y Combinator does, in fact, take referrals. And you, as a referee, get notified of your referral if they get accepted. And I'm like, dude, Beanstalk Farms, I hope you go bankrupt. You garbage. The vertical farming industry is full of rich, spoiled idiots that have access to capital. They've gotten $2.5 billion worth of capital. They can't even scale the vertical farming business. And all of them, no matter how nice you talk to them, refuse to believe that their system design, their architecture is inefficient, and that I might have a solution. I've talked to all of them. None of them want anything to do with me. And I'm just like, okay. You know, in the meantime, I'm like, I was broke and desperate, and I would have worked for any of them. One time, I did early on get an offer from Farmed Here when Mark Thoman bought that business, and I remember him trying to woo me with a job on the farm, and I was also getting exposed to the Chicago machine and thought I might have a chance at running for alderman. I was broke, so I was just looking for work, and I got a call from him, Mark Thoman, saying, by the way, crazier things have happened. Okay, than a 26-year-old alderman or whatever, 25-year-old, whatever, right? Alderman in the 20s. And I'd met a lot of people in the city of Chicago through my startups there. Regulate, you know, so I was like, I was just looking at who I knew and what kind of work I can get, and this was an option I was thinking of pursuing because I was also desperate and I had to make some moves here. And Mark calls me. He's like, I got the money. He just raised like $27 million. I'm like, oh, he's like, you ready to do this? I'm like, yeah, man. Because if you weren't gonna call soon, I was gonna run for alderman. He's like, oh, all right, I'll have my people send you paperwork. And then he just ghosted me for the rest of my life. And I was like, oh, that's not how you. I learned the hard way multiple times. Telling people you have another fake job opportunity that you don't actually have. You shoot yourself in the feet. You know what I mean? And I'm so glad I didn't go to Farmed Here because they ended up going bankrupt after, you know, another guy bought it, and I probably would have had to sign over all my IP to them. You know? And it would have been tied up there, and I would have built it half-ass, and, you know, I don't know what would have happened, but God closed a lot of doors in my face, and sometimes forcibly, and the windows I've crawled through have led to this beautiful situation here where I'm able to grow supplements and soon drug molecules. I have a whole new way of growing crops indoors, lets me grow a tremendous volume of plant matter, and I can scale it basically infinitely. And these plants have medicinal molecules in them, and they're known in the literature, and there's all sorts of exciting candidate molecules. We have our first, it's called sulforaphane. It's a secondary plant metabolite. Cellular Farms, the business that, you know, I'm in founder mode on, is the first vertical farming company to focus on primary plant metabolites, molecules that plants make in their natural growth cycle for supplement and pharmaceutical purposes. We have our first one called sulforaphane, and it's an extremely exciting molecule. Search the literature on sulforaphane, Google Scholar of it, you'll be blown away. We are taking it to market right now, and I'm literally, you know, on my back heel, have to make this work with a tiny bit of money in the company bank account, you know, after cutting everything off and focusing on just one thing. It's rather exciting because I'm certain of it. I am certain of what I'm doing, and I don't need anybody, and it's exciting. I love that, you know? So finally, I have a way to commercialize vertical farming as I see fit without arguing with all these idiots, man. All these idiots that have wasted $2.5 billion. Every investor that invested in another vertical farming company was wrong. They all thought, like, oh, they got accounts at Whole Foods, therefore they know what they're doing. That's the easy part. When you grow crops indoors, they're delicious and fresh and great. They have a great brand, ingredient story. That's the easy part. Any idiot can walk into Whole Foods and get accounts with lettuce that's grown indoors. Growing it indoors it is hard. Growing it indoors in a scalable fashion is yet to be done. And it turns out there's only one way to do it. one way to do it. And if somebody wants to license our technology, so be it. Otherwise, we're using it for important things right now, which are supplements and pharmaceutical drug molecules, and not salads. Supplements, not salads. Okay, salads aren't feeding anybody. They rot in your fridge anyway. They're not critical, to the national security. You know what I'm saying? But other things will be baby food, livestock feed, drugs, food ingredients. You know what I mean? That stuff we're going to grow indoors at scale, and it's going to be excelente. It's going to be complicated, but I'll be able to fund it and not have to do all the work myself, which is tiring. So make sure you go to Point Botanicals, 50% off. Oh, no. Point Botanicals, in the link below, it'll take you and it'll give you a free month of Broccoli Pro. This is the only place where you can get it. We're the only people producing it, and it is an excellent molecule for anything inflammation. I mean, it's the ultimate anti-aging molecule, 100% naturally derived from plant material. It activates your body's NRF2 pathways, which activate all these cytoprotective genes, which hunt down and remove and repair the damage from chemicals that don't belong in your body. It targets, it's an antioxidant repair element, response element. It has unbelievable benefits across the scope, across your whole body. And the most important thing that I'm most excited about is that it blocks and removes obesogens from your body, and therefore probably also endocrine disrupting hormones. And obesogen, specifically BPA, there's enough of it produced every year to induce obesity in trillions of people. I mean, it's a hyperpotent molecule. Anyway, if you look up any, just look it up. I don't know what I should be saying and what I can't be saying because of the FDA regulations. But if you want to support this show, subscribe, send it to someone that wants to lose weight or keep the weight off. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day. Bye.